Hey, yo, it's me, Pops Van Marmalade, and you're watching the Comics-Related Madness Network. Huh? So come get some. CromCon. CromCon.
If you're a fan of comic books and comic book conventions, Daytona Beach Comic Con needs to be on your list of must-attend events. It's a show that actually focuses on comic books. Imagine that! This year's event is happening on Saturday, September the 6th, and Sunday, September the 7th. Silverline creators will be there, so we'll see you at the show. There's a new convention in town, and it's sure to be mega fun without the mega expense. Comics, toys, collectibles, pop culture. ShadowCon, Saturday, February 1st, 2025, in Orlando, Florida. Silverline creators will be there, so we'll see you at the show. If you find yourself in the Orlando area, and let's be honest, doesn't everyone come to Orlando for the House of Mouse? Head over to Coliseum of Comics to get your comic book fix. Be sure to check out their location on East Colonial Drive, where they carry a wide selection of independent comics, including Silverline books. Stop by and don't forget to tell them Silverline sent you. Hey, if you're an independent comic creator looking to get your comic printed, look no further than Kablam Digital Printing. They print our comics and do a fantastic job. They can even print special edition covers. When you reach out to them, be sure to tell them Silverline sent you.
Hi, this is Tim TK, host of That Silverline Show on Tuesday. Join us at 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific every Tuesday night as we discuss pop culture and the joys of making comics.
Hi, I'm Barb Kelber, co-host of Silverline's Wednesday Wham. Join us each Wednesday night as we discuss comics, literature, movies, and anything else that may catch our attention.
I'm Roland Mann, and I host Silverline's Silver Sunday. Join me every Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern as we make mine Silverline. Hello, everyone. I had a replay going in my head. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Silverline Silver Sunday. This Sunday, February the 23rd, 2025. I'm your host. I am Roland Mann, and I'm excited to have a fun topic tonight. We are joined, as always, by the human digital color supreme, Miss Roberta Conroy. Say hi, Roberta.
Hi.
I see the sun shining through your curtains. It's dark where I am.
It's 5 o'clock.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
We're also blinded by We're joined by She Blinded Me with Science, Mr. Thomas Formonti.
That's a one-hit wonder right there, isn't it?
It is.
So. And last but not least, also a one-hit wonder of comics, Mr. Tom Mason.
Hi, everyone.
Tom is our soupy sales on Sunday.
Well, at least pick somebody talented.
Well, the thing about it is, there's probably going to be like 3 people who understand that reference.
And 2 of them are dead.
Yeah.
I was going to say 2 of them are here. Because I can almost guarantee Tommy's like, who?
Yeah.
No, I know.
Well, unless Soupy appeared in Spider-Man, Tommy would have no idea.
That's right. That's right.
He was one of the villains, right? So he was a throwaway character.
That's what he used to throw soup at everybody.
Yeah. All right. So that's a hint of things to come tonight, folks. Where's my calendar? Let's see here. Okay. Beyond the Stars is off. It's all gone.
Yay!
Everybody, everybody. If you backed it, it is on the way to you.
Yay.
You're all out of my hands.
You made a promise last week and you kept it.
Yes, just barely.
That means he brought it to the post office today. So
Well, yeah. It's out of my hands into post office's hands. So it's not, you won't have it yet. I guarantee you won't have it yet, but it's on the way.
Oh, not with the way the USPS has been going lately. They slow.
We are prepping our next campaign, but we're not quite there yet. So it's either going to be this one or this one, but I don't have covers. Yeah, I don't have covers for them, so we can't get the campaign. I mean, we need covers for the campaign, so it really just kind of depends on who gives me covers first.
The race.
And Tommy's like, I got one right here.
I'm working. I've got 2 covers I'm supposed to do for you.
And you're doing them the old-fashioned way, aren't you?
Yes, on paper. 3. What's the third one?
I think there's 3. I have to go back and look.
For the one project?
No. 2 for one for another.
Yeah. I'm with you.
Well, does anyone have any news? Tommy, how about a con report? You went to
this past weekend, I was in Pensacola, Florida, at Pensacon.
Well, hang on.
I know, that's what I was waiting for you.
Yeah. I was taking a drink though.
Is that the program book?
Yeah, that's a program book. It's
Is that
it's a lot of media people, a lot of comic artists, a crazy dealer's room. No, the show was great. It's always a great show to go to.
Is
really
that
enjoy it.
Behind you? Is your background Pensacon?
No, that's something I found on the internet. But
okay.
I mean, yeah, that's it.
I meant to do that.
Yeah, that's the ticket. No, it was a great show. There was let's see who all was there. We had John Dale was there as far as artist people go. John Dale, Derek
Steven was there, right?
Do what?
Steven
Butler was there. Mitch Bird, Lily Butler was there. Brian LeBlanc was there. The guy that I don't have the book over here. Bunches of stuff. I was there. That was the most important person.
That's right.
A lot of and we were like the guest comic folks, and then there was a bunch of just regular Artist Alley folks, too many to name. There's probably about 40, 50 Artist Alley type of guests.
Pretty good.
It was the zombie guy, the zombie Marvel zombie guy. What's his name?
The painter guy.
Yeah, y'all know who I'm talking about. The guy, the zombie. Anyway, Marvel zombies guy. That guy. Come on now, help me out. Y'all are just dangling in the wind. Thanks, I appreciate
that guy.
it. Yeah. What? Michael Golden, right? He was there.
Okay. Sean Phillips. Oh no! Oh, you're talking about the covers. Arthur Sidam, or
yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. Tony, Jenny, Isabella was there. Derek Cohen, Roland Paris. Just a bunch of folks, and then there was a lot of media people there. Just a whole bunch of media people.
Now, y'all were a little bit affected by the cold weather, right?
Things
hit, huh?
But because they kind of do some stuff outside, some stuff inside, and they were supposed to have terrible weather on Saturday and Sunday, so they had to move a lot of stuff inside, and things got moved around a little bit. So that was a shuffle. I got to sit next to a really cool wrestler guy. Y'all heard of Dirk Ziggler, the wrestler? Of course not.
Nope.
People are watching probably know who he is. He's a WWE wrestler guy. He was a heel for most of his run and stuff. He turned out to be a sweetheart of a guy. He was so nice. Renee and I were chatting with him, and he was so good with the guests. It was so really cool. And then at some point, a lady brought up her daughter, which was deaf, and then the wrestler guy just started signing to him and stuff. And Renee and I were like,
cool.
Renee were like, He's perfect. I love him. Both of them. Yeah. Yeah. So I drew him a
He picked
picture
up somebody and
stuff.
slammed him to the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He threw me through a table. And here, I'll post the picture in our.
I learned a term in class, like a vertical suplex. Y'all ever heard of that?
No, but
Vertical
I'm going to bet it hurts somebody like me.
Well, it's like so. One of the students said, and this was a splash page of this character vertical suplexing one other character, and I said,
A suplex? Yeah, that's just when you flip them around and you tick them and you slam them down. Yeah.
okay, I get that, but I had never heard that term before.
Power
And I'm
bomb
like-
when you
I don't know
slam
what
somebody
that
through a
is.
table.
But yeah,
Yeah.
You Google it, and it's just got somebody flipping somebody over their back.
Yeah,
into a table.
you turn them and you put their head between your legs facing downwards, and then you flip them up backwards and you slam them down. I do it all the time.
That's
Yeah,
like a Herb Trippy thing.
yeah, it's a common move.
Yeah,
I do
so
it all the time.
I didn't know what it was. So
You know,
I
you remember that show that you and I did a couple of weeks ago, and that kid really got me upset, and I threw him through the table? That move I did on him.
okay,
That was it.
All right, Madness. Pops says, "Hey, yo, what is up, Pops? Thanks for hanging out with us as always." And then Pops ads for Madness programming info, booking, sponsors, and sponsorship opportunities, and our store, themeg.tv. That's where you need to go. David Ace Goodrez, what is up, David? Thanks for hanging out with us. Love seeing you here. He says he broke kayfabe.
he did a little bit. He sure did. That wrestling terms. Yeah,
Okay.
that guy was so cool. I tell you.
Oh, this is what you did for him. Hold on, I'm gonna show
No. That was one drawing that I did. Here's the drawing that I did for the wrestler guy.
Okay.
And then
He
here's
posted
the
on
wrestler.
Facebook earlier this week.
Yeah. You want to flash those up there? This.
Yeah. Give me a second. I gotta get them.
Roland's going to take another drink.
Yeah.
Yeah. Share screen.
No, I did a bunch of commissions and sold a bunch of books. I sold some Trumps. I sold a couple of Silverline team up books, and that's the book that with the Mississippi folks that we're working on. That was a cover. I call that guy Little Bigfoot.
No, not Lil. Lil. Right?
Lil. Yeah, Lil. Bigfoot.
Yeah. And then this is what you did for the wrestler, right?
Yeah, he wanted to be doing a super. That's called a super kick. That's a move and he wanted to be kicking Stone Cold Steve Austin. So that was one of his. And then this is the guy. The next picture I sent you.
Oh, okay.
I took a picture with him.
Let's see if it'll just work like this.
There he is.
Oop, that's not what I wanted to do. Hold on.
Yep.
This is what I wanted to do.
There you go. Yeah, he was pretty funny. So you don't see it in any of these pictures. So when I'm standing, we took the picture together, and I put my hand around his back just to, being cool buds and stuff. And his back was like a solid brick wall. It was like, boom, like, oh. Yeah. Yeah.
He's got
Almost
back abs.
broke your hand from.
Oh, I broke my hand just touching his back. Oh!
He looks excited to get it.
We're not. I hope he's not watching. He kept telling people that he was 6 foot tall. You can see
He's
from the
not
picture.
6
I'm
foot
6'6". I don't think so.
Yeah, he's not. He doesn't look 6 foot tall. Yeah.
But he was so cool. He was cool. Oh, and then behind him, you can see was Mike O'Malley was standing there behind him. The guy from Nickelodeon and Snowpiercer, and he did a wrestling show too. That Mike O'Malley guy. He turned out to be pretty cool. Hung out with him a lot on Sunday. That was pretty fun.
Nice.
So you never know who you're going to meet over at the Pensacon show.
Nice. Well, I'm glad all that stormy weather didn't keep people away.
No, and then it turns out that we didn't even get any weather. So there you go.
Oh, really?
No, it didn't even happen.
Well, boy, they sure got it in a lot of places up north.
Yeah.
I tell people we got it too. It got down into the 40s here. Whew. Boy.
It was windy, but they thought it was gonna be, lightning and thundering and crazy.
Down
I-
into the 40s. How do you
I,
guys
I
survive?
had to pull out my long pants because I'm normally
I'm
wearing,
telling you,
normally wearing shorts.
pulled
Yeah,
out my
it got
long
cold
johns.
enough. Yeah, it got cold enough for me to wear breeches.
I didn't leave the house. It was so cold. Pulled out my winter jacket.
Breeches, yeah. Spell that, will you?
Britches.
All right. Tom for the win.
That was a dirty word. We don't use dirty words on this show.
All right, so tonight's topic is one-hit wonders in comics. All right. Now, for our guidelines, of course, this is going to be very broad, and because I think it would be a whole lot harder if we were literally looking for something that had a single issue.
Yeah, I don't think so, but I can't find it.
Certainly there are some, but so let's kind of define. If you guys want to veto any of this, please feel free to do so. But my thinking is one-hit wonders is something like something that's less than 20 issues, right? So and I
like a series, like a one and done series kind of thing, where it didn't pan out, or is it just done?
Because a couple of things I have on my list are like a little mini series that just nothing else happened, right?
Oh, well, I got a bunch of those. I could just
I
can think of.
Get your pencil and make you a list. I got a list.
Well,
right?
Well, one of my most favorite one that they didn't do much of afterwards was the Scud the Disposable Assassin. He had a couple of things
on my list. Yeah.
Yeah. But that one he did pretty good with that one though. I was thinking more of like they put out one book that was really, really good, and then all of a sudden you never saw any more.
Well, I mean, certainly those I would say really fit the bill. But I'm thinking if they got a couple of issues out, or did one little thing, and then we just never saw anything else again. By
that definition, Bone would fall in there, right?
Mm-hmm.
No,
that's not a one-hit wonder.
No, Bone went more than 20 issues, dude.
Oh, 20 issues. You're capping it. You're putting some caps on it. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I think Scud went way past 20 issues too. I think it was like 30.
Well, then I would say that one's not.
Yeah, that won't fit. Yeah.
You couldn't do Cerebus either.
No,
Cerebus won't fit. No.
Would you say so? But would you say that Dave Sim is a one-hit wonder because he only had one book that wasn't success?
No, I wouldn't say that because I would say I wouldn't. So if we're going to use the music analogy, right? Dave Sim had 300 hits,
right?
Because he had 300 issues.
All right. I'm just trying to establish the guidelines. I'm not trying to be critical of Dave.
No. I that's fine. That's cool. And the reason I came up with like 20 issues, that's just a number I plucked out, is because it's less than 2 years, right? 20. I mean, generally it's less than 2 years. We think of an issue a month. 24 issues is going to give us 2 years. So basically you're looking at something that lasted a year and a half kind of thing, and then just kind of disappeared, right? So 20 issues is just a number I plucked that sounded like a kind of a good guideline for us.
All right.
So let's see here. I'll go first. Let me delete Tommy's picture here. And I'll put, where did it go?
So trying to think
this one. I'll start with this one, so you guys can kind of see maybe where I was going with it a little bit. Comet Man. Anybody remember Comet Man?
Oh yeah, that's Billy Mooney, isn't it?
Yes, it sure is. Bill Mooney, the guy from Lost in Space, and
he sent that book to the cornfield.
What?
Billy Mooney played the kid in It's a Good Life, or the one where he had the power to wish people out into the cornfield on the Twilight.
The Twilight Zone. Yeah.
Okay, I got you. I was still Lost in Space. I'm like, wait, what? Comet Man, it was 6 issues, right? It was just a 6-issue series, and then nothing else ever that I'm aware of, anyway.
So was it supposed to be a mini series, or that looks like that should have been like a continuing thing, right? And it just kind of fizzled out and stopped.
I think it was all as intended as a mini series. I think
it was a mini series that they were using it as a pitch for a movie or a TV show.
Oh, okay. Well, y'all know as well as I do, Marvel and DC, if they do a miniseries, they're looking at it with the ideas that, oh, this could become a regular series, right? Anything they do. Right. But I thought this was an incredibly well-written story. It's pretty old by now. I can't even remember the dates of it. But it was really, really good. And I look forward to each next issue. And then when 6 came around, there was just no more. And I kept thinking, okay, well, they're going to launch something new. They're going to incorporate him into, the regular Marvel continuity in a way, some way, somehow. And then nothing ever happened.
Right.
David H. Gutierrez says, I think Comet Man made some appearances in Marvel Comics Presents too. I didn't realize that.
That doesn't even count.
Yeah.
That's basically a backup story.
Yeah. So me and Tommy, you remember this? Roberta, y'all remember it?
It looks familiar. I don't think I ever read it though.
Comet Man. I think I've got some. Yeah, especially that first one.
Yeah.
Because that was what was the dates? Can you tell? Because there was so many of these miniseries that were trying to stick in the 90s. It was just series after series after series all the time.
There was also
late 80s, 90s. Yeah.
There's also that quick growth period where it was easy to get a book on because everybody was looking for the new thing and everybody wanted inventory on the stands.
Yep, and there was always the idea of putting out that first issue of something. Put out another first issue, another first issue, another first issue.
Well, because that's the thing too. The way the direct market is built, a company always has to have a number one every month.
Right. Yeah. Which there's a lot of pressure to do that if you think about it as a publishing company.
Yes, there is.
All right, let's see here. I'll go over to one of Tom's here. All right, Tom, tell us about this one.
Dishman, John McCloud. This thing came out in the 80s, a little black and white comic. I think it ran 6 issues, maybe. And it's basically
the mundane adventures. I like that.
And it is. It's mundane. The guy has the power to wash dishes telepathically.
No,
Wow, that's cool.
that's really
And
funny.
what he comes to realize, and what it is, it's a great exploration of the difference between like a real life superhero who exists in reality versus a comic book superhero who exists in a comic book world. Because in real life, there aren't a lot of crimes necessary for a superhero.
Right.
And so that's what he finds out over the course of the series. Is it's basically there's no real crime that requires him to put on his costume and use his power. And it sounds like, well, that's great for like 6 pages or whatever, but he gets 6 issues out of it or whatever, and it's really good. It's really funny. It's really sardonic, and I think the creator. I mean, I'm sure he went somewhere else and made bigger money, but he didn't make any more comics that I know of.
Who was it? Do you remember his name?
John McCloud, I think, is his name.
John McCloud. Yeah, I don't recognize the name. Yeah,
because it used to be that kind of thinking of you'll do an independent comic and then suddenly you'll be writing Spider-Man or Batman or whatever. And but for a lot of people, it's like, no, I did my thing and that was it.
I did my thing and now I'm going to go do this other thing.
I'm going to go actually earn a living.
Right. Yeah, he might have realized how much Marvel and DC paid and said, okay, yeah, no, I'm not doing that.
Yeah, and also you're only going to work for 6 issues and then they're going to fire you and you'll be unemployed for another year.
That's right.
There's that.
So
yeah. So do you think you're talking about the powers? Do you think that's one of the reasons? Of course, I know that you're not a big fan of Spider-Man, but do you think that's one of the reasons that Spider-Man was so popular? Because he actually did use his powers to stop more everyday crime.
And it's also cool wish fulfillment because Spider-Man's power is he gets to swing around Manhattan, and so he doesn't have a mundane power. And I think, so for me, there's like two kinds of these superhero comics. One is the Spider-Man Batman one, where it's like a cool power running around the city fighting both costume villains and people trying to rob the pie factory or whatever. And then there are people who grew up with those kinds of heroes and are like, well, I want to do something different. So here's a guy with a totally mundane power, and how would that work in real life? And so I think there are a lot of comics that are like that.
Yeah,
just like there are a lot of superhero comics.
Yeah. Dishman. That's what I'll have to look for. And
I keep looking for it in the dollar bin because it's got to be there. There was a collection that came out a few years ago, but and again, I don't know how nutty the rest of you are, but my nuttiness is I don't want to buy the collection. I want to go out and find the ones in the dollar bin.
Yeah.
As if it's a treasure hunt.
Right. No, I absolutely love that. That's
makes it fun.
That's one of the reasons that I ended up getting this. I've shown you guys this before. This goofy app, which I know a lot of people have, but that's one of the reasons I got. Oh, there's one of the books. I got this app that I can track everything because I found out that I was buying. At 50 cents, I was buying duplicates. I ended up with like 6 copies of Elementals #4.
Yes.
I'm like, I don't need 6 copies of Elementals. I guess it's only 50 cents or $1, but still, I don't.
You gotta support those guys, Roland. You're doing your thing.
See, when you pass away and they're going through your stuff as the executive of your estate, they're going, man, he must have really loved Elementals #4.
Right. And they're going to be flipping through it trying to figure out why did he like it?
How did Roland connect with this issue? He's got so many of them.
Yeah. All right. So here's one. You guys remember this one?
Oh, yeah. This is is this David Anthony Kraft's company?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
At least it was initially.
Right.
It was I think published by 2 different companies, but I can't remember. Aristocratic Thieves.
Aristocratic Extraterrestrial Time Traveling Thieves.
That's a mouthful, isn't it?
It is a mouthful.
Yeah, let's see. I'm trying to figure out. Comics. Trying to see the publisher here. Comics Interview. And then I think somebody else published them too. Oh, no, that's still Comics Interview. I guess it was all. I thought somebody else. Well, let me look at the first issue. Maybe that was. Nope, they're all Comics Interview. I was thinking that two different publishers published it. This was a good one. I enjoyed the heck out of it. It's 1987, so on the heels of the Turtles.
Right.
Therefore, the long mouthful of a name, Aristocratic. I can't even say it. Aristocratic.
You're right.
So
It's really funny.
but it had a lot of humor. Of course, they were thieves. It was just a well written piece. I don't even remember who wrote it. Was that David Anthony Kraft?
I don't know.
I don't know. Written by Henry Vogel.
Oh, there we go.
Art by Mark Props. Looks like they did all 12 issues of it.
But I think only the name is meant as a nod to the Turtles, right? Because the
the story is not.
Right, the story has nothing to do with any sort of anthropomorphic sword fighting parody of Turtles.
No, and I have one of those up here, but no, not at all. But this is one of those that, you mention and people are like, hey, yeah, I think some people. I remember that one, or I remember an issue or two. But that's one of those you wonder. It's like, or for me anyway, because I enjoyed it. It's like, why didn't that catch on? Why did it only have 12 issues? It was good. Let's see. Steve Scott says, yeah, 6 issues is a long run these days, sadly. I think you're
What's up,
right,
Steve? How you doing, bud?
Yeah. Good to see you here. Thanks for hanging out with us, Steve. I'm assuming you're still over across the big pond there. Then he said, Mark Props, the artist of it, was my inker on JLA. Really good artist.
Oh, there you go.
Steven says, these comics were a lot of fun. Yeah, I agree. I think they were. And I know they've recently been collected. So those of you who prefer the collections, you can get that collection or just do like I do, hunt the dollar bins. And these, to my knowledge, these don't have any, they're not high dollar value, but they're really worth the dollar that you're going to pay in the dollar box. Jackson says Captain Canuck. Y'all remember Captain Canuck?
Like a really weird Canadian comic book that revived an old character and came out fairly regularly for like I don't know, 8, 10, 12 issues, and then disappeared for like 30 years, and then came back like 4 or 5 years ago for a short run.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, my dates are kind of fuzzy, but there was a long gap, and then it passed away again.
I didn't realize it had a revival.
Yeah, Tom Grummett worked on it.
Really?
On the revival. And it was Richard Comley revived it, and he was a penciler. And then I think that was the first work I saw of George Freeman.
Holy mackerel. Do you realize the first thing was in 1975?
Wow. I didn't see it then.
I didn't realize that. First published in 1975. Captain Canucks, this is from Wikipedia, so you know it's right.
Of course.
Captain Canucks' original adventures were published on and off until 1981.
There we go.
So there were several iterations since Captain Canuck Reborn. So I'm not sure this would fall in our one-hit wonder. What do you guys think?
I'm not sure because it keeps coming back.
Yeah.
And
20, because it says there are several iterations since. There was Captain Canuck Reborn, Captain Canuck Unholy War, also Captain Canuck Legacy, and then, as you mentioned, and maybe it's not as recent as you thought. In 2012,
there we go.
Richard Comley entered into a partnership with Toronto, and then he did an animated series was crowdfunded and aired between 2013 and 2014.
So just a couple of years ago, as my calendar says.
Yeah. So in 2023, a live-action Captain Canuck project was in development.
That means nothing.
Yeah, I know. 2023, an animated series based on the comic called Camp Canuck was in development.
Means nothing.
Yeah. That's an interesting one. See, all right, hold on, a couple other comments. Yeah. Steve says he's still in Belgium. Thanks for hanging out with us, Steve. I know it's really late over there. Cosmic Times TV, what is up? Cosmic Times says I still have that in my collection. As do I. Captain Canuck still pops up in previews from time to time. So
there we go.
I think that would almost kind of disqualify it as from our one-hit wonders. Steve Scott says the George Freeman issues of that were amazing in Captain Canuck.
And it's like, it's hard to say this out loud because it sounds like I'm being derogatory towards somebody, but it was like, it's night and day between the originator of the revival, Richard Comley, and then George Freeman. It's like when George Freeman comes on, it's like you're seeing, Frank Miller suddenly take over Daredevil or John Byrne suddenly taking over X-Men. It's like that kind of difference in the artwork.
Well, there's a conversation to be had in there. What happens when someone different takes over an indie comic or something like that? I mean, we expect it all.
Buying it.
I mean, we expect that all the time at Marvel and DC, right?
Right.
But when someone takes over an indie comic, who's not the original, what is it? Oh, all right, Tommy. Let me pull this one up because I'll make you talk about these.
We don't have to.
Yeah. No. It can't be me and
I just
Tom.
found a good list
Roberta.
of a bunch of books.
No, that's fine.
There.
Or if you think of any, Roberta, speak up.
Sure.
Right,
Everything I thought of had a revival. I was looking at, I'm like, oh, what happened to this? And then I was like, oh, it's not a one.
You had brought up the
right.
turtles thing, and I sent you 3 or 4 of them. I found a site that had a bunch of the turtle people that were just glomming on kind of thing. I have all these books. I remember when they came out. That time anyway.
Tell us about the naive interdimensional commando koalas.
Yeah, y'all remember that one?
No, I do not.
I think I still got that one in my collection somewhere.
I do recognize it as a Beatles Abbey Road ripoff, though.
Yes.
I don't remember what it was about. I just remember that was when I was, I knew I loved the Marvel DC stuff, and then I was like, what is all this indie stuff? And then the Turtles came out, and like I've told this story a million times, I bought it. I don't know where it's at. So
Yeah.
But
So
these
you
a
might
bunch
not
of these
have it.
books came out at that same time, or within a year or two.
That's right. You might not have it anymore.
I don't.
Oh.
All right.
I don't. I know I don't. I've looked for it.
So here's another one. I know that Tom can talk about this one too. How about that right there? Fish Police.
Yeah,
Good
that was pretty popular.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was hugely popular, I think. And I think didn't two publishers have it? Didn't Kamiko? He was self-publishing and then Kamiko took it over or something like that.
It sounds very familiar. I just remember it was the big long.
Let's ask the wiki.
And then it became an animated series.
What, really?
Yeah. And the animated series was terrible, really. It's
I like how you stretched that out. It was
I couldn't think of a better word
bad.
for terrible because it was just.
You're right.
It was not.
85. It was self-published, black and white.
Right.
And then 11 issues. The title was picked up by Kamiko in 1987. It reprinted issues 1 through 4 in a trade. After issue 17, Kamiko went bankrupt. Yeah.
Right.
Fish Police was then acquired by Apple Press.
Right.
Apple Press then printed issue 0, and then Marvel Comics reprinted the first 6 issues in color.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's interesting.
It spawned.
So because it was reprinted, would that still count as a one-hit wonder kind of thing?
Three publishers.
Yeah.
But they just kept printing the same thing over and over again. You can get the book out.
Actually, 4. Fish Rat Production, which was Steve Mongoose himself.
Apple,
Kamiko and Apple and Marvel. Yeah.
So.
I remember that. I think it's downstairs in my my box of stuff.
You know what? I don't remember the Marvel reprint.
No, I don't either.
I've got the black and white ones, but I don't remember whether mine are I think I have the Fish Wrap ones, not the Kamiko ones. Oh, well, you know what? I can check this. I think.
Check your app, Roland.
I still have some. I got like 2 indie boxes that I haven't entered yet, so it may be one of those that's not in there yet. Anyway, Steve Scott says, "Did Tommy nominate Hurricane LaRue?"
Oh, that's a good one, Steve. That is an excellent one. We need to redo that at some point, Steve.
I don't have it entered yet. I know I've got some though.
That was a book that
you know what?
Steve
I asked Barry about it.
Yeah, that was a book that Steve, I, and Barry worked on. That we did some of our very first things that we did. That was a pretty good, pretty fun, book.
Yeah,
that's definitely a one-hit wonder because we only did 1 issue of it.
I own it, but the cover's not in CLZ.
Oh yeah, Mitch Bird did the cover. Yeah, that was pretty fun.
Yeah. So Steve Scott says, "Sounds good. My first comic work ever." Yeah,
we did a great. We did. That was a fun time. Fun times.
All right, so that's Fish Police. Let's see here. What else? It's koalas. All right, this is probably one that y'all won't remember. This is something I discovered around in the early 2000s. Archangels. Have y'all ever heard of this one?
No.
It is a Christian comic book that is heavily influenced or inspired by Image Comics. In fact, I read the first issue, and then I read the second issue. And at the beginning of the second issue, they had one of those, "Here's what happened last issue." And I read that, and I'm like, "Oh, that's what happened?" Because I had no idea what happened. But it looked pretty. These guys sold thousands and thousands of these things. And I think there was only 9 issues. But they sold thousands and thousands of these things. And then I think they got a bit of the big head, and they tried to market it for cartoons and animation and all that kind of stuff, and just went nowhere. And then it never showed up again. I can't remember the date was early 2000s, but I can't remember Angels comic. Let's see if I can get a date on
Did
this.
they get their powers when somebody rang a bell?
You know what? The thing about it is, I don't remember.
You had to read the third issue so you could see what happened in the second.
Yeah. So this says 90s, 95. Okay, sorry, this was 95.
Your timeline's
doesn't count.
Me and my timeline is like yours.
So just a couple years ago.
Yeah, just a couple years ago. Yeah, I'm looking at mycomicshop.com, and none of them have really any value more than cover price. They have multiple covers, but there's only 9 issues here. So this is one of those. Though they actually they like I said, they moved thousands of these things, and just disappeared. Yeah, I don't remember the creators' names. I could probably look them up. I'm not going to.
I would love to know. I would love to know why it fell apart.
Yeah, me too.
It's got to be drama.
It has to be. Not nine issues, because that's an awkward number, right? Why 9?
It is. Nobody really end. You don't really end a series at 9.
No.
And if you're really moving thousands of copies,
why end it?
Yeah, and I'm such a gossipy little toad. I want to know.
Yeah, I always wondered if they were shooting for 12 and just didn't make it. You know,
they probably were, had budgeted a bunch of money to pay out a lot, and then it didn't. They sold thousands of copies, but they needed to sell tens of thousands of copies, and it didn't work out. Yeah, so they ran out of budget probably.
Let's see here. What about this one? Anybody remember this? Captain Quick and a Foozle?
Yeah, this was. So it's Marshall Rogers.
Yes.
And it's is the writer, is it Englehart?
Yes. Steve Englehart and Marshall Rogers.
It's a Batman story that got rejected.
Oh.
And
so let's just redraw it different, and here you go.
And so they just redrew it, and they reworked the story for Captain Quick and the Foozle.
Yeah.
But I think if you look at Wikipedia, you'll find out it's a rejected Batman plot.
I don't think I knew that. I remember meeting Marshall Rogers way back in the mid 80s, 86, 87, maybe even 85, but probably 86, 87, something like that. And yeah, I think he signed my copy of this, but this is where I'd never heard of it. Right. I'm like, what is this? And I picked it up from him because I'm like, this is cool. And plus Marshall Rogers is such a fantastic artist.
The great thing about the industry back at those days was that you had an option that if DC looked at your stuff and Marvel looked at your stuff and said, nah, we're not interested, you could do something else with it.
Yeah.
And so and again, I don't remember all the specific details, but I do remember getting a copy of Captain Quick and a Foozle and trying to go through it and figure out where the Batman was.
Right. I'm gonna have to do that now.
Yeah.
I think there were a couple of issues. I'm looking right now. Oh, it says 1 through 3.
Okay.
So there were actually 3 issues. I think the only one I have is issue 1. So I know what I'm going to be looking for in the back issue bins.
Me too. Now I want to find out.
Let's see. Steve Scott says, "You saved it, Tommy. I had no idea what I was doing."
Well, I appreciate you saying that, but no, we were all we did a great job. It was fun. Yeah, no, you did great.
Steve Scott says 9 is better than 6.
Yeah,
it's true.
Unless you're losing money on the final 3.
This is true. And then Steve Scott adds, Eclipse had some great titles back then. They really did. They were rocking in the 80s.
Well, and the thing is, I think that's because Dean, above all else, was a comic book guy.
Yeah.
He was not a business. I mean, he was a business guy, but he was first and foremost a comic book guy.
Yeah. Here's one that was also on my list. Tommy sent this. Adolescent radioactive black belt hamsters.
I wonder what
that was a good one.
Yeah, you don't remember that one?
Is that Don Chin?
Yes, it is. Don Chin and
Francis Mao?
Parsanovich.
Oh yeah, Parsanovich. Okay.
I don't. I don't know what happened to Parsonovich, but Don Chin's still around making comics.
Yeah.
We had a shop on the Gulf Coast that had tons and tons. Now we, lived in the Hattiesburg area, the USM, Mississippi, up in Hattiesburg. That had a couple of shops, but there was a shop on the coast that would get all of these crazy indie books, and that's where I picked up most of these.
Yeah.
My memory is that this was one of the better of the parody ones.
Yeah. Tommy, the story you're talking about, that was run by the British guy, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. Yep.
Yeah. I remember that.
Dave. That's where
yeah.
Scott Hoverman worked for him before he ended up getting his own shop
Yeah.
down in Biloxi.
You know what? I guess I just assumed that Scott bought his shop.
He kind of did. I think he inherited it, bought it, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I remember this one as well.
Yeah, that was a shop where you could go get bunches of comics. You could get stuff to make beer, and he sold UK food. You remember? You could get.
He's got all the bases covered, all the groups.
They sure did.
Just don't do it all at the same time. Don't spill your beer on the comics, kid.
Oh no, stop.
What about this one? Anybody but me remember this one?
Oh, that's Len Straczynski and Scott Bieterstadt and
it looks so familiar.
And Paul Fricky
Frick,
yeah.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, and this thing came close to not making it. When I was looking up the images, I was like, "Oh my gosh, this thing ran 15 issues." I didn't realize it had run that long.
So that's why your cutoff exists.
I said 20 issues.
All right.
But I actually thought this thing only ran like 4 or 5 issues.
Yeah. Well, most of the guys who were making it started getting real work in, paying work in actual mainstream comics.
Yeah.
You think that's why a lot of these books just faded off into nothing because all of a sudden started getting some Marvel work if it worked?
I think, in general, and I'm sure people will write in and correct me, but in general, the idea was you would publish something in order to showcase your work to get work at Marvel.
Yeah.
That was the main goal. And then as soon as you got regular paying work, it's like, I'm out of here. Now.
I mean, Tom, I think it's mostly or partly your fault because that's what you guys wanted to see. We wanted to see something printed, and we're like, well, shoot, I'll just print my own book and then send it to you.
Yeah, well, that's the thing because it's somebody had said yes to you, and so it's like, okay, you're a proven commodity. And the thing is, it's hard for people who haven't made a comic book to understand what's required to do a monthly comic,
right?
And so if you have that kind of level of experience, it gives you a boost up. But I always thought a lot of the indie comics guys were like, no, I got Marvel work now. I'm out.
Yeah. Well, and I think too that was we could talk about whether it was worth it or not, but that meant a regular paycheck.
Yeah.
Where where the indie work was like, I may or may not get any money.
Also, it's like, you know what? I want to live with my partner. I want to get a bigger place to live. I want to actually go out to eat, and I want to, own a car. It's like, okay, I want some Marvel money now.
Yeah. Steve Scott said those were fun. These were fun. Gulf Coast Comics. Yeah.
That's right. Scott. That was where we met Scott too.
And then he said Ron Lim got his start that way and made a mint Marvel.
Yeah.
What'd I say?
Yeah, because Ron Lim was working for the Eradicators.
Yeah.
For
there's another one.
Whatever.
Yeah.
And then he did the X-Mutants, and then Marvel was like, "You should come over here."
Yeah.
And then that was it. That was all Ron needed to hear. And so I think that's like a very accurate path for success with a lot of people.
Yeah. Well, and because as you said, it shows the big publishers that, hey, look, you can produce work on a timely in a timely fashion.
And also you can see, again, in the case of Ron Lim, you can see where his early work was a little raggedy.
Mm-hmm.
But then you could watch as he got better and better. And suddenly it's like, well, he wasn't good enough for Marvel when he first started. But then all of a sudden, after he'd done 6 or 7 or 8 issues of a comic book, it's like, okay.
Yeah.
He's put in the hours now.
Well, and that's what so many artists who are just starting, right, That's really all they need. A lot of times is they just need some miles, right? They just need to get the work done. But you see so many of them like, yeah, I'm just starting off. You know, I've done this one book. I'm like, okay, cool. And they're like, I should go draw Spider-Man. Well, no, not yet.
And it's all 22 pages of pinups.
That's right. It's like, no, you need some pages under your belt. Not saying you can't get there, but you got to put in the work.
Also the other thing too, and Ross Ritchie has talked about this before. It's like, if you want to draw Spider-Man for Marvel, who do you think Marvel should fire?
Right. Yeah.
They got a bunch of guys doing great Spider-Man.
Well, so Tom, you've heard me tell my Billy Tucci story, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
But you could tell the others.
Well, and that was the thing. Chris Ulm had been talking with Billy Tucci, right? And he brings this stuff to me and he goes, find this guy some work. And I'm like, okay, Chris, who would you like me to fire? I don't want you to fire anybody. Well, Chris, all of my other books have regular artists on them. And for me to find this guy work, I have to fire somebody. Well, don't fire anybody. Just find him something. I'm like,
and in those days, the easiest way to find something for somebody that you really wanted to work with was just create a new book.
Right. Yeah. So, yeah. Madness Entertainment Group says Crom's little weaker cousins, the Trollords, right?
Oh, right.
Steve Scott says most artists are just wanting to get clicks on social media, but never really do the hard comics work.
Yeah.
You know, and I agree. There's something going around on Twitter today and yesterday, I think. I miss so much of the drama. I just see people commenting on the drama. But somebody said, I don't understand why people are giving such a hard time to comics, these crowdfunders that ship on time. And several of the posts, not all of them, but several of them are like, well, quality comics takes time. And I'm like, excuses take time. You know, I look at all these comics, and I'm sure you guys can come up with all these comics that I loved in the 60s and the 70s and 80s that were produced every single month. These were quality comics. You can't tell me John Byrne, Chris Claremont were not producing some quality X-Men stories in the 1980s. You just can't.
It's the thing that a lot of people don't understand is there are a number of people who look at the business as, well, this is an art form and I'm going to take time to make my art. And it's like, well, yeah, but comic books are like television. It's a factory job.
Yep.
It's an office job. It's
periodical,
art.
You know,
right.
Right. Periodical. Yeah.
Yeah. They're going to come out every month. And if you can't do it every month and you need more time to make your art, go right ahead. We're going to find somebody who can do this every month because our audience wants it every month and the distributor wants it every month and the printer wants it every month. Our paper supplier wants it every month. It's a factory job, whether you like it or not.
Yeah. And if that doesn't work for you, go make your art book.
Right. But you're not going to recalibrate the entire business structure to accommodate your artistic sensibilities.
You know, and some guys have done that. Are you familiar with Asterios Polyp by David Mazzucchelli?
Yes.
I contend that's a really weird book.
But he's earned the right to sort of do that.
Yeah.
Because the other comics still exist on a monthly basis.
Yes.
And so you couldn't have an entire industry based on when Asterios Polyp came out.
No. Batman Year One that he drew was phenomenal.
Right. Best Batman story ever.
Yeah. But Asterios Polyp, I don't think I'm going to be waiting for that every month.
Well, it's like the disappearing comic from the 80s, Big Numbers by Alan Moore and Bill Sienkiewicz.
Oh, yeah. There's another one.
A great comic book, beautifully drawn. I don't understand a word of it. Only 2 issues came out, but you can't have a publishing company with just 2 issues of a comic.
No, you can't. Yeah. Madness says those are simps. LOL. Only simps defend unprofessional actions. Steve Scott says, indeed, you are right on the time thing. You got to get your rhythm and keep it going. Hard work, but when you love it, yeah, you're absolutely right. You love it, you can't not do it.
We need to get Steve on the show at some point.
Yes.
Yeah.
let's see here, man. What about this one? Where talk about this?
Oh
one?
yeah.
Chuck Austin.
Yeah.
But didn't that one go on for more than 20 issues though?
Well, I don't think so.
It was a great book.
I'm Googling just to make sure. Hero Sandwich, 1987. I show 9 issues.
All right.
Okay.
Terrific book.
Yeah.
Fun.
The one thing that's been happening in the covers that you've been showing and stuff is it seems like back in the 80s and 90s, it was easier to get a longer run of books. Like the sales were a little higher or something going on back then. And we were doing them all in black and white back then. So the cost was a whole lot cheaper.
Right.
Printing for sure.
And everything was paid in advance from the distributors because everything was non-returnable. And also a lot of the people who were making the comics were 18, 19, 20, 21 years old.
Yeah.
And so there's an excitement and enthusiasm where you're not really like, I don't think people making comics in those days had their accountant look at it. And go,
No.
You're actually losing money on this.
I think I think you're right, but I think there's that a lot of that youth brings that excitement. I want to do it. I want to do it.
Right.
And this is for those folks who are driven, right?
Yes.
Because not everyone can do it.
No, because and a lot of these people, had regular jobs.
Yes.
So they were.
Let's see. Hold on. Steve's got several comments here. She says, on time, and did you guys read Monster by Barry Windsor Smith? 30 years in the making. I did not.
Yeah, but, having worked with Barry Windsor Smith, I can tell you he's just a special case.
Mm-hmm. Actually, Tom, the marketing guy at Malibu reminded me it was Barry Windsor Smith.
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
I left the hyphen out.
That was Black to Stars.
Boy, I heard that.
The hyphen is an important part.
Yes, it is. Madness Entertainment Group said, I covered indie creators putting out series today on the show-offs. Nice. Always cool to showcase indie creators. Steve Scott said yes. Art on Hero Sandwich looks great. Was this from the UK? I don't think so. This was a slave labor book.
San Francisco, Northern California.
Okay, there you go.
That's where Dan Vado was. He's the publisher.
Tommy just got another one here. Tommy, tell us about this one.
I don't know if anybody's heard of that. I don't know if Steve Scott has seen this book before. But that was a book that he and I did for what was that? London Night Studios. Yeah. I don't think there was more than 20 issues of that. It kept coming and going. But that was a colored book.
No, that says 22 right there.
Is it?
Either that says 22.
Oh, well then get rid of it. It's out of there.
Toss it out.
That might be ZZ.
Toss it. I just wanted to put something up there for Steve.
What about this one? You guys ever heard of this one? Last Generation? No.
Oh, no.
This I want to say this one had about 6 issues. Hold on, let me look it up real quick. Last Generation was put out by I think Black Hat, Black something. Last Generation comic. Art was done by Mitch Faust, who
he used to work for us.
Yep. Last Generation, 1988. It had 5 issues. And I think it was. I know Mitch is out of Memphis. I want to say all of this thing was out of Memphis, but I'm not going to swear to that. But fantastic book. This is one of those that you don't see often in the back issue bins, but or in the dollar boxes. But when you do, you should get it, just because they're not that common. And Mitch moved from doing this to painting. He did all the interior art on this as well, and I think he probably just decided that's too hard to do, and he got into painting a lot of fantasy babes.
Yeah,
that's nice
he
art.
would have been a good paperback cover artist.
Yo, yeah, absolutely. I know he did. One of the things we used to. With Tommy, you remember him? We did some shows together before he passed away, and that's one of the things that a lot of these indie novelists would contract with him to do covers for their books, and most of them were fantasy based.
Right, because he loves swords and dragons and all that stuff.
Yes, yeah, and it was kind of funny too because I was looking through one of his sketchbooks one time, and I said, Mitch, I think you have. I think you need to get a couple of new models, but because I see the same faces here for these girls. He goes, yeah, I know. Apparently, he's using the same model over and over again because you can recognize it. You start recognizing her face. Let's see what else here. We already did Dishman. All right, Tom, tell us about this one right here.
Manhunter 2070. So at some point during the Carmine Infantino era of DC Comics, he greenlit a bunch of stuff and made a bunch of changes. And he put a guy named Mike Sikowski in charge of Wonder Woman. So Wonder Woman became a secret agent like Diana Rigg in the Avengers. And then he revamped Metal Men and turned Metal Men into like the hunted Metal Men who are now on the outs. They were basically being hunted by a government agency who wanted to shut them down and melt them back down into their elements. And then he took over Showcase, and he had 2 series on Showcase. One was Jason's Quest, which is sort of based on like Easy Rider, Then Came Bronson, where a guy on a motorcycle is driving across the country looking for trouble. And then Manhunter 2070
and the Argonauts.
Yeah. And then Manhunter 2070 is like a space thing where he is like a bounty hunter who's chasing space pirates and looking for the people who killed, I forget his family, his dad or his mom or his sister or whatever.
Yeah, the cover says you can rest easy now, Dad. So
yeah, and they're really good. They're very stylish. They're very stylized. They move like a TV show. They're a little bit different than standard DC comics of the era.
Yeah,
and of course the industry rejected them, and they were all shut down, and Sikowski got fired. But
oh man,
for that brief window, they were experimental. I mean, this is like 1970. When this thing came out, and so it's I just really liked them.
I love this cover.
I was gonna say I like how the logo takes up a third of the book. You see all that big old the top type at the top there. Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah,
it is type heavy.
Yeah.
But it doesn't. It still gets the emotion of the scene across. Like it doesn't.
It does, and it's got movement. The logo's it looks good.
The thing is, as I got older, what I appreciated is the fact that he drew it to fit the
logo.
I know.
Yeah, isn't that cool?
You don't have to.
Hey, I got a question for you. Who actually put that book out?
This is DC Comics.
I don't know who did.
Yeah. Oh, look, they've got their brand twice.
I know, that's my point. Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Is that DC or is it DC? Who did that?
That's why.
All right, let's see here. We already did this one. We already did that one. We did that one. All right.
And that's Jason's Quest. That's basically he's looking for his missing sister. He's traveling across America. And stranger rides into town. There's other stuff going on. There's a conspiracy. He moves on to the next town. And he's being chased by people who want to shut him up. And so it's a push-pull. He's looking for his sister, but there are people chasing him to keep him from doing it. And he's sort of uncovering the layers of the conspiracy. And it was never completed. It was left with a cliffhanger after 3 issues.
Oh man, don't you hate that?
Oh,
it's like So I gotta ask: Is this is not the cover here? Is it?
No. This is an inside text page.
Okay.
I just thought, in keeping with the that's a lot of words. It's I don't know. You don't really. If you need this many words to sell your comic book, you should probably rethink yourself.
Yeah. Steve Scott says, "Okay, I know I am of a certain age, but I really like the comics from the '70s. I collect the Warrens and other horror and sci-fi.
Yeah.
I think the '70s were a good time. '70s and '80s probably my favorite.
Well, and we were the right age for that kind of stuff too. So.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. So Tommy has sent me one here. So Tommy, tell me about this one.
Oh, that's a weird one. Who sent you that?
Hey, where'd that come from?
I don't know. That was a series back from early '90s. That was a cool one. You should see the back cover for there is even neater because Zomboy is sticking his head under the water and he's looking out of the girl's
Bikinis.
underwater.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I guess you probably know who Zomboy was based off of.
Yeah, I keep asking this creator for more Zomboy.
I'm working on it. I'm trying. I'm trying. I'm definitely trying.
All right, Tommy, tell us about this one. You sent this one. Whoop, you sent this one.
I don't. I've got it. I don't remember what happened in it. I'm guessing it was Miami Vice, but with hamsters, is what I'm guessing. For what I remember, I don't know. Are y'all?
Yeah, but it wasn't really. I don't remember taking aside from the logo swipe and the name thing. I don't remember that it actually paralleled Miami Vice in any way. I thought they were just bounty hunting hamsters. But then I thought it was only published a couple of years ago. So what do I know?
Yeah.
I think that was. Let me look it up again. Doom, doom, doom. 20 minutes later.
Yeah.
Tommy's buffering.
I've got one here. Let's see. I got to get the image though.
84.
Man, 41 years ago.
Jeez Louise, isn't that crazy?
That is crazy.
And it looks as fresh as tomorrow.
All right, let's see. All right, I got one here. I know you guys probably seen this one. What about this one? Anybody remember this one?
Captain.
Captain Confederacy. This is an alternate history in which the South wins the war, and of course, superheroes eventually are going to come to light in the world, of course. And I forget the name of the character. There was a secondary character like Captain Confederacy's partner, who was a black woman. And it's been a long time since I read it. Now, I didn't realize this. Apparently, 1 through 12 was published in 1986. That's what I remember. But apparently, it was revived in 91 and 92 for 4-issue miniseries.
Oh.
Yeah. I did not realize that there was a 91, 92 revival. So I don't know. Is that close enough? Should this be discounted?
Yes.
Yeah.
Get it out of there. It came
Will
out.
Shutterly became a science fiction fantasy novelist.
Yeah. Yeah, he sure did. Yeah, he went on to from this to do novels.
Yeah. Where there is money.
Yeah. Here's one.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
You remember this one?
Oh, yeah, I've got that. That one's downstairs, too. I've got that one. I was a sucker for all those little miniseries back in the 80s, 90s. Yeah.
This of course, this one's by DC Comics, right? Ragman.
Yep.
Yeah. It's Bob Kanigher, isn't it?
Let's see here. Script by Keith Giffen.
Oh, this is the revival. There's an earlier one, I think, where Kanigher created it.
Oh, I didn't know that. This is one I don't remember the other earlier one. This is one I remember getting. And I remember thinking, wow, why do we not have more of Ragman? I thought this was 6 issues, but this right up here says this is an 8-issue miniseries.
8 issues is weird.
Yeah, it is weird. But DC did a lot of weird numbered. I mean, what V for Vendetta was like 10 issues.
Right.
They did like a Flash that I think was 9 issues. They did a lot of really kind of weird numbered issues, I think. Steve Scott says I drew him in Shadow Pack.
Oh, there we go.
I'm sorry. I apologize, Steve. I do not remember Shadow Pack.
How many issues did it run, Steve?
Yeah.
And it could qualify.
Steve says, love me some Zomboy.
Oh, thank you, man.
Yeah. Let's see here. Well, unless y'all have something else. Oh, I got one more. I'll toss it.
I sent you 2 on
okay.
Facebook.
Let me Let me grab those images then, Tom.
We can close out on a high note.
You might need to hit send again.
What?
You got to hit the go button. Go.
Oh, no. I see them. They're above Tommy's.
Excellent.
Oh,
yeah. Oh, you know what? I almost included this one because I'm not writing. I want you to see. I actually wrote right here. Can you see what that says?
Scorpion.
It says Atlas.
Atlas is basically all Atlas titles fit your
right.
It's the whole company.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. Is the whole company
Scorpion by Howard Chaykin. This is the one that was from the Atlas Seaboard comics. Came out in the mid '70s. Howard wrote and drew the first 2 issues of the character. It's a great sort of 1930s, crime fighting, pulpy adventure kind of guy.
Yeah.
And then when
look at that art, man.
Right? Look at that thing.
Yeah.
And then when this is like right in the period where Chaykin is becoming Chaykin. Like he's moving away. He's moving away from his Neil Adams influences and becoming
Howard Chaykin. Yeah.
And
so then, is he sitting on that girl's head? What's he doing? He's kind of closed real quick.
And so when Atlas decided that with issue 3 they were going to completely revamp the character and make it more of a superhero, Howard went over to Marvel and said, "Hey, I want to do this character for you, but we're going to call him Dominic Fortune." And Marvel was like, "Yeah, okay." And so, so this is like the origin of Dominic Fortune before he became a Marvel character. So they're great.
They're really good.
I picked them up. I picked up 1 and 2 a year ago for $1 at WonderCon, and I read them again. Thinking, well, I was a kid when I first read them. They can't possibly be any good now. It's like they're still really good.
Yes, they really are. Yeah. And, it's one of those, it's a shame that now it's a shame that you can find them in the dollar boxes. Now, I will say this. I have seen Atlas, Scorpion, and a few of the others marked up for like $30.
Oh, yeah.
But you can still find them in the dollar boxes.
Yes.
Which is, to me, this is one of these weird things. Okay, so is it $30 or is it $1?
Right. Well, it's $30 if you can get $30 for it, and it's $1 if you can get
that's true.
There you go. Yeah. But yeah. Let's see here. Steve says, I only drew 2 issues of Shadow Pack. And then he says, everything from Atlas.
Yeah,
Atlas didn't, I don't think any of them ran longer than like 4 issues.
4 was the one, yeah.
Yeah. He says, Howard was Gil Kane influenced and was his assistant.
Yes.
All right, so this is the last one. Unless you guys come up with something else, this is the last one I'm going to toss up. Do y'all remember this one?
Different because he's real.
That's right. This is the Human Fly, and I can remember when this thing came out. I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is a real superhero!" Oh my gosh! And did you ever see the video of him? He flew on a plane.
No.
But what had happened is they took some, I don't know what it was, but they took some kind of stake and drove it into the plane and like wrapped him around to it. And so he flew up on the plane, but he was wrapped on this.
Oh, he's like doing one of those stunt plane.
Yeah, it was a stunt
things.
plane, but it was a big plane. Yeah. Oh. But I remember it was on the news, and it's like, oh look. Oh.
If you
there wasn't a mannequin up there.
If you like Super Dave Osborne and you like Evel Knievel, you'll love the Human Fly.
Wow.
And of course, I liked both of them.
Of course you do.
Is he fighting a shark? Look at that. That's pretty cool.
Now, yeah, he is fighting a shark. Now, the Human Fly, I think, ran for about 12 issues. Hold on. Let me be sure I'm not. Man, it just barely made my cutoff. 19 issues.
There we go.
Man.
Out of there.
Ooh. Does it say who the artist is?
Let's see. And number one.
Is it Jim Craig or Frank Robbins or?
That cover looks really good. It's pretty
art
nice.
By Lee, I don't know this name. Lee Elias?
Oh yeah, he was one of the Kniff influenced artists of the time.
Oh wow.
Yeah, he was a really good journeyman artist. He had a I forget what the name of his comic strip was in newspapers in the 50s. Beyond something. He's really good.
Oh, yeah. So the Human Fly character was created by Bill Mantlo, is based on the real-life stuntman Rick Rojat.
Rick Rojat.
Well,
that sounds like a Stan Lee name. Hi, Rick Rojack, Human Fly.
I wonder if that is a stage name. He even had a cape. Where's his cape? Here we go. Here's his cape. Which I just remember going, well, look at that. There's this cape.
Oh.
Yeah. Let's see here. Madness says I have that. Jackson ran it. What's up, Jackson? Says I believe I have that whole run.
All 19 issues.
Steve Scott, I remembered the Human Fly and tried to like it, but
me and Steve are brothers here.
You know what? I enjoyed it for what it was. It wasn't Spider-Man, but I enjoyed it for what it was. Lee, I'm guessing he means Lee Elias.
Did the Black Cat.
Did the Black Cat.
That's one of them, yeah.
And then Madness is the original Shark Hunter. So
is that the shark getting punched out by the Human Fly?
Yeah. All right, so that was fun. What you guys think?
It's not bad.
Yeah, it was fun.
It was odd.
We winged it. It was good.
It's weird because there's, there aren't that many true one-hit wonders.
Yeah. Well, nicely researched for you, though. I really appreciate that because I learned a lot.
Well, good.
I did.
Well, good. Again, I had my list here of them, and you'll notice they happen to be in alphabetical order.
Wait, were you using the internet, Roland?
Oops.
I was assisted. Yes.
I was assisted.
Well, I'll put up my page now that you're done presenting.
You've been working. You've been working steadily this whole time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Show us what you've been working on. Madness Entertainment Group says, "Good show. Thanks, Pops. Appreciate it." Hopefully, Agent Cub says, "Hey, Agent. Nice for you to hang out with us tonight." Said it was okay. Yeah.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
That's right. Like and subscribe. I can see this already.
So this is page 13 of Vipers.
Nice.
We got.
I like the guy. What's up?
Cop. It's the background of the cop office.
These are detectives. These are detectives Marble and Mud, who are introduced in this series, and they're going to be our detectives of the weird in New Orleans.
I love the bow tie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stylish.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're interesting. I like it. She's got a leather
They're going to go undercover at Riverdale High.
Peace out.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's nice art. Who is that?
This is Angelo Concepcion as a penciler, and Jose Fuentes is the inker.
Nice.
And the cool thing about it is, I hesitate to say this because I don't want it to stress out Roberta, but Angelo has already finished penciling issue 2.
That's not stressful. It's just
okay.
This was behind, so it's okay.
Yeah. Steve Scott said, "A lot of fun, guys. Thanks again. Have me on someday." Absolutely, Steve. We need you on. Did I email you? Didn't we swap messages before? I thought we did.
Does he have a book coming out? What's he doing? What's he working on?
Scott.
He's always posting stuff.
Yeah. Agent Cub said, "So what was the biggest one-hit wonder?" I don't know, guys. Did we come up with the biggest one-hit wonder?
Well, I'm gonna have to say my Zomboy book was probably the biggest one. Or whoever did that Zomboy book. That was a good one.
Let's see here. Yeah, Steve, I hollered at you once before, but you never got back with me about a date. I'm hollering at you again.
Holla.
Hollering at you. Actually, it says hollering you, but that's what happened.
Well, that's why he did. He was like,
I don't know. Tape. So yeah, Steve. So just drop me a message on Facebook. Respond to my hollering you, and we'll get a time to get you on here, man, and talk about what you got coming out.
Yes.
Roberta, this looks awesome.
Awesome. Thank you.
Fantastic. I can't wait
Birdie.
for us to be able to crowdfund this real soon.
Down to the last couple of pages, I did have a question for you.
Okay.
Did you see the cover that I did?
I have not.
Okay. So one cover down, there's no more ink for the others, right? Nothing's
Yes,
ready?
that's correct. We're waiting on the inker to
No problem. Just asking.
Who could that be, I wonder?
I don't know.
No pressure. Just asking where we're at because I'm down to the last 5 pages.
Okay.
Give me a day or so. I'll try to knock at least one of them out, and then we'll get the. So we got covers from. Wait, well, I don't want to show them. We'll show you when you.
Yeah.
We'll share it later.
I love these staff meetings that we have.
I know.
Yeah, I know.
I know. On air.
All right. So on Tuesday, that Silverline show on Tuesday, the crew discusses westerns and revenge stories in comics. The crew discusses literary and illustrative tools and themes common in revenge stories and westerns and how they apply to comics.
And we'll be showing clips from Bone Tomahawk.
Right. I've been reading some Rawhide Kid I picked up in the $1 box. Those are so much fun. So goofy, but those are so much fun.
I like the one where he fights a giant gorilla.
I haven't seen that one. I don't have it.
Oh,
I'm gonna have to look for it. Wednesday, making comics. What's in a panel? The crew from the Wednesday Whammers discuss their process of turning an idea into a panel from the script description, pencils, inks, and then colors. I think
That's a great idea.
Yeah, they've just taken like one page and they're going through the process to showing what they kind of how it's done and what they've done.
How they do it, yeah.
Next week is going to be a fun one. Comic distribution, problems and fixes, featuring not one, but 2 guests. We're going to have the amazing Ben Dunn on with us, as well as former Malibu publisher Dave Olbrich. And of course, Ben Dunn, for those of you who don't know, who is the Antarctic Press founder. We're going to discuss comic distribution. Of course, you all know what's going on. You probably know what's going on anyway with Diamond. Big question marks around them. No one knows yet. But we're going to talk about the problems, the fixes, and what the future holds for independent comics. And that's next week. That's going to be a lot of fun.
We said we have answers?
Yes, we're going to have answers, of course.
Right. We're going to have it solved.
As Tom said earlier, don't forget to like and subscribe and follow and heart, right? Do that little heart thing, right?
Like the kids do.
Whatever platform you're watching us on. By the way, some of you don't know, we've been added to Rumble, and we've been getting big numbers on Rumble. They don't show up. They don't show up for me here. So I can't tell you how many we have on Rumble, but Pops has been letting me know after the shows, hey, you guys had 50 and 60 on Rumble. So
is that the noise that I heard from outside? That rumbling noise?
I'm sure it was. Yeah.
Okay, good. Cool.
Yeah. So Steve Scott says, Ben Dunn, I'll be watching. And Agent Cub says, I will try to be on time next week.
Yes.
Agent, set an alarm. We have all kind of technology that you can set now. So all right, let me get over to my videos, and you guys remember this will be a little bit longer. So until next week, remember to make mine Silverline. Good night, everyone.
On the tube and feel the vibe. Every show you crave right here live. Heroes and villains clash in the night. Madness Comic Network sets it right. Scroll through the list, find what you need. Epic battles and fast-paced speed. From capes to cosmic space delight. Tune in and watch your favorites ignite. On Facebook, share the thrill so grand. On X, the buzz across the land. Madness Comic Network all around. In every episode, joy is found. Uploads, they never end. Superheroes and their friends. Catch every twist and every turn. Madness Comic, you will yearn. Stay up to date with every twist. Madness Comic, don't miss a gist. From laughter to tears, every mood. Madness Comic sets the groove. Click that button and subscribe. Catch the wave and ride the tide. Join the fun, join the craze. Madness Comic brightens days. Hey! New uploads, they never end. Superheroes and their friends. Catch every twist and every turn. Madness Comic, you will yearn. Stay up to date with every twist. Madness Comic, don't miss a gist. From laughter to tears, every mood. Madness Comic sets the groove. Click that button and subscribe. Catch the wave and ride the tide. Join the fun, join the craze. Madness Comic brightens days.
Hi, I'm Greg Horn. Make mine Silverline.